Hello, everybody.
Hey, folks, good evening. So we got, holy mackerel, we got a bunch of people in here already. Warms my heart to see all you again, all in here waiting already. So had some in here. Nisi was in here 6:31, and then Thick and Thin Lifestyle. Ed, from your picture, looks like you changed your channel name again. So I'm not sure what Thick and Thin Lifestyle means, but welcome. We got Jan in here, Simply Jan Homestead. Welcome, my friend. We got Michael and/or Bobby. Not sure which one in here tonight, from MB Heritage Farms, and we got our moderator extraordinaire, Paula Wells. We got some mail from Paula this week, so we're going to open that up tonight. Flavors and textures. She's in here already, but she's not down in the cellar yet. We'll be bringing her on.
Not quite.
Huh?
I said not quite.
So we'll be bringing her on in a bit. Who else we got? Bomber Steve. There's the man. So Steve, I hope you're working on your offer before. Steve said he's got a friend down in Australia that has, like, as I understood, some kind of animal park that's got snakes and everything. That'd be an awesome live, is to kind of tour that, so we could look at some Australian wildlife. That'd be pretty awesome. I want to see like kangaroos and stuff. I've never seen I don't think I've ever even seen a kangaroo in a zoo. And I've been to several zoos. Probably not that they haven't had them. I just haven't seen them. Or maybe I just didn't pay attention. Who else we got? Sandy, how are you? One of my favorites, Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. But right now, Sandy's out in Arizona. So I saw she kind of put a slash behind her name. So it was Suburban Homesteader WYAZ. So I guess she's going to be that until she goes back up to Wyoming. She's spending the winter, down in the desert. My Cluttered Garage, welcome. How are you, sir? Here from Southern New Jersey. That's a beautiful part of Jersey. Probably 12 years ago or so, my wife and I took, so that's Lala. We took a trip from Western New York to the Jersey Shore, and then followed the entire coastline to Florida without ever getting on the interstate. And that was my realization that Southern New Jersey is really, really pretty. So we went all the way down to Cape Fear, took the ferry over. I think not Cape Fear. What is that? Cape something down in the southern tip of New Jersey. Took that all the way over to Delaware. Went to Dogfish Head Brewery. I'm not going to talk about that because it was I did not drive. We left Dogfish Head Brewery. That's a really great brewery. If you've never been there, you should check that out in Delaware. Who else we got in here? We got Gail's Southern Living. Welcome, my friend Gail. LG Homestead. Welcome. They're newer to the channel. Cat in the North as well. My friend over there in the Houston area. Houston. Nothing edited. How are you, ma'am? All right, so you're going to see Nightbot show up here tonight, and Little Rick's trying to get Nightbot to play nice, because right now he's not Nicebot, and so if you see not Nicebot doing things tonight, it's because he's still trying to tame and train Nightbot. Michael Harris, how are you, sir? Michael is somewhere. So when I saw Michael earlier in the week on one of our premieres, he was up down in Virginia. So he's on the road through the end of the week. Betty Jean Holson, welcome. I hope your weather up there is getting nicer. It looks like, from watching the national maps, that it's not as cold in these parts. So Betty Jean is up in Minnesota. That's probably a horrible.
That was awful.
Horrible. Yeah. That sounded more like a deep Canadian. And the Canadians probably didn't know. Hey. Who else we got? So I think I covered everybody. Highland Homestead, welcome, Eva. How are you, ma'am? All right, so we got a lot going on tonight. So this is kind of our many of the people that are in here have kind of followed this get to know them segment. We started this thing just kind of on a whim shortly after we started doing our lives. And I think this is number 27 of these get to know them segment where we've brought on small channels under 1,000 subscribers when we put them on the schedule. And I think this is number 27, I believe. And tonight it comes to an end because we are ending this series, kind of rebranding how we're doing our live streams, much more interactive. It's been very frustrating to me that we've not been able to really tend to comments, and that bugs me. So we've really had to really kind of had to think through. We've been doing that for about a month or so, figuring out how are we going to redo our live stream so that it really kind of allows us to answer questions that our subscribers have, that come in, ask us questions, and really allow you to kind of get to know us better versus focusing exclusively on other channels. Now, don't get me wrong, we're still going to have other channels coming on, but we're not limiting it any longer to under 1,000 subs. So now I think I announced last week, if you got something really unique that you're an expert at related to homesteading, not that you're trying to figure out yourself, but that you really would like to teach and educate folks and get some exposure, shoot me an email because I want to hear from you, because that's kind of what we're doing now, is really developing thematic or topical live streams around a particular topic, loosely related to homesteading and self-sufficiency. So it's going to be fun. So we've got some cool things coming up. So
a lot of brainstorming lately.
Yeah, a lot of brainstorming. Because I got when I come home from work, I've got 40 minutes to think in my head and just zone out while I drive home. So that's generally when I'll get home and I'll tell Ricky, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And he kind of looks at me with a funny face, like I got another harebrained idea.
Hey, I would say 75% of them are great.
I'm sure he gets tired of hearing from me. But so we've called out the channels here. I think we got most everybody. I've already called them out. Garden State Gardener, welcome. So last week, and I sincerely apologize, I don't see them in here yet. I think he's going to be in a little bit later. We got a super chat late in the live from Bonded Oak Acres last week. So I wanted to shout Bonded Oak Acres out this week. If you have not checked their channel out, please do. So they gave us a $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Happy St. Patrick's Day. So
flavors and textures completely ignore bad bot. There's man.
So I told you it's not so nice bot.
Yeah, he's flavors and textures jackpot. Stop spamming. I don't even know what all that means, but I'm figuring it out. Just ignore bad bot.
We're gonna call him bad bot or not nice bot. So Nunya, Texas on back 20. Welcome, sir. So happy St. Patrick's Day. So as I was kind of figuring out what we're going to talk about tonight, I got thinking, what in the world is what a day is St. Patrick's Day other than when they have parades, drink beer, and celebrate the Irish? So that kind of got me thinking. And you know how much I like my research. So I went to the authoritative source on life, which is Mr. Google, and asked Mr. Google, what is St. Patrick's Day? And it's basically an Irish celebration of the patron saint of Ireland, St. Patrick. So nothing earth-shattering there. Kind of makes perfect sense. But here's what I thought was really, really funny when I started looking that up. So obviously the very first parades related to St. Patrick's Day were in, obviously, Ireland, right? Makes perfect sense. No earth-shattering news there. But where do you think, and this is you don't win nothing, this is just general trivia that I was really genuinely surprised by. Outside of Ireland and in what eventually would become the Americas, what was the first place to have basically a St. Patrick's Day parade? The first St. Patrick's Day parade in what would eventually become the Americas. Any ideas? Green River in Chicago. Nope. Freehandly made. That's not an answer, but it's clover, so I'll take that as a guess. So, here's surprisingly, there's a little burg about 60 miles south of Jacksonville called St. Augustine, Florida.
Did you just call it a burg?
Yeah, it's a little burg, little tiny place. Coincidentally, it is the oldest city in the United States, and that is where the first St. Patrick's Day parade outside of Ireland and in what was eventually going to be the Americas was held. I thought that was really, really interesting. It's like 60 miles away from me. I would have said New York, Chicago, 100 other places, but I would not have guessed St. Augustine, Florida. It wasn't until 100 years after that, now this is just prior to the American Revolution, that Irish soldiers were occupying what was then New York City. It was not until 4 or 5 years prior to the beginning of the American Revolution in 1774 1775, that the first parade in New York City was held. And that was by Irish soldiers. The way it was labeled is kind of homesick. So it was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty fascinating stuff. So now you got huge parades. I've been to the one up in Savannah. I've never been to one in Boston, but I've been to the one in Chicago, and I've been to the one in Savannah, Georgia. I don't know how they got to Savannah, Georgia. That's about as far from Irish as you can get. I think that's probably more of a marketing gimmick up there. But nonetheless, all right. First recording is New York City held in 1762. So let me go back there and let me find that. Garden State Gardener, with the dramatic increase Irish immigrants to the United. It's absolutely right. That was prior to that, though, 100 years prior to that. And this is from the History Channel, is kind of what they basically give credit to St. Augustine, Florida, as having, and that was at that time controlled by the Spanish, not even controlled by the Irish. That was a Spanish settlement in Florida, which is why there's a lot of really rich Spanish cultural history around really the kind of northeastern part of Florida. A lot of Spanish influence in that area in terms of building and forts. In fact, the Castillo De San Marco, which is the fort that is really the centerpiece of St. Augustine, Florida, was actually the Spanish fort where they occupied Florida from. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a coquina shell wall. We've been in it many, many, many times, probably 12 foot wide, thick, of nothing but shell that has been calcified. It is just, they hit it with cannonballs and you can see the holes in it. And it just kind of absorbs into the shell. It's a pretty amazing place.
We need to make you into a textbook.
I just love history. I love learning and kind of putting pieces together. Yeah, Nisi, I would have never guessed that as well. I mean, it was pretty interesting. Uncle Al, how are you, sir? Welcome. All right, shout out to our moderators. Who we got in here, Rick?
Oh, the Miss Paula. Of course, we have Bad Bot. Highland Homestead. It's easier to look those up on YouTube because they're highlighted. So we got MB Heritage in the house. Simply Jan's in here. We got a whole bunch of mods tonight. That's about, if I missed you, it's because you are all the way at the top, but I don't think I have.
Yeah, so throughout tonight, mods are going to be dropping links for the folks that are in here. But go over and check each other's links out. We've got some newer folks in here tonight that I haven't seen in here before. So
welcome them.
Yeah, welcome them. Go check their channels out. What?
Oh, Paula. She said, "Shut up, Nightbot."
Yeah, I mean, Rick's ready to cuss that thing out. He's trying to figure out. That's why I'm calling Not So Nice Bot. So we got some mail this week, and one of them. I'm going to open this one first. This came from Paula Wells. And here's the funny thing coming from Paula Wells. So it got run over by something because this is how it got to me. Big hole in the package there. There's a hole in the front here with tire marks across the package. So at the same time this was coming to me, there was also a package going to Paula. But to go from Florida to Missouri took 3 weeks. I don't understand the United States Postal Service, and I don't think I ever will. So this is from Paul. I know what it is. Really, really excited. One of my favorite vegetables is okra, and she had sent me some okra seeds. So what I thought was really cool is how she sent them. She just dried the pods and sent them to me. It's pretty cool. So I'm not sure what variety this is, Paula. It's probably in the letter, but I just opened this, so there's a good letter in here. I'm not going to read that because red burgundy okra. So awesome. So those are probably going to go in the ground probably within the next week, hopefully. Got another piece of mail this week from Free Handly Made. I know what this is as well. So we've been talking for the last 2 weeks. I got a bad echo. Why is that doing that? There you go.
Probably Nightbot.
Well, I had the speaker off. So about 3 weeks ago, we announced a collaboration that we are doing on March 31st with Free Handly Made and Hat Creek Homestead. Now, minimally, I'm trying to get a third channel involved. I have not heard from them yet. So, but this is from Nisi, and she has made us some ribbons to wear on our live stream on March 31st in celebration of World Autism Day. So we will be wearing these live. She sent us a nice letter. So really, really, I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna please accept these handmade ribbons to showcase during the live event Autism on the Homestead as a thank you for supporting Autism Awareness Month. The platform you are providing will show so many families that living on a farm or homestead can be an excellent alternative for families with children living on the spectrum. I believe it will give a new perspective, hope, and insight to therapeutic properties that may not have been thought of before. We are over the top thankful for your willingness to help us get out our message. Free Handly Made says, so I've wondered this at the end of Free Handly Made's channel name, there's this AU, and I've wondered what that means. She says, it's
Flavors and textures. You need to go ahead and click that link in your email.
Group that I belong to. I've been getting asked that constantly. So, Nisi, thank you so much. We will proudly wear these ribbons on that live. Thank you. That's very, very thoughtful of you, and really, really appreciate it. So, as you know, one of the big things that I enjoy doing more than anything else is I love being involved with veteran causes, first responder causes. So really, we're huge backers of the blue, the red, and the green. Each week, I try to highlight some element of the military, whether that be an individual. Up to this point, I've been kind of highlighting Navy ships because I'm a Navy veteran, and that has been kind of a huge part of my life. So I've kind of went through my hat collection and kind of highlighted how my hat collection ties back to various military and Navy engagements through the vessels that I've collected hats over the years from. But as we kind of migrate into a new live format, this is something I've been wanting to do literally for a couple of years, and just couldn't find the right venue for it. So I hope you will indulge me and allow me to recognize each week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recognize one military member. Could be any branch, could be a police officer, could be a firefighter, that I can identify their story as holding special meaning in the sacrifice that they made for this country. So really personalizing it, instead of talking about ships and kind of anonymous people, individuals that gave their life in the service and protection of this great country. Flavors and textures. It was in the original email that
I'm about to send her another one.
So I think you got it Friday. So my wife, Lala, her real name is Kimberly, and Kimberly grew up in Western New York. Now she has her aunt husband, first marriage. So it's kind of
There
distant.
she is.
Had a son named Jason Dunham. Jason Dunham grew up in that area and essentially joined the United States Marine Corps. He was killed in action, serving in the Marine Corps, and this is his Medal of Honor write-up for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as a rifle squad leader, 4th Platoon, Company K, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, Regimental Combat Team 7, 1st Marine Division on April 14th, 2004. Corporal Dunham was killed in action about 17 years ago. Corporal Dunham's squad was conducting a reconnaissance mission in the town of Karaballah, Iraq, when they heard rocket-propelled grenade and small arms fire erupt approximately 2 kilometers to the west. Corporal Dunham led his combat air armor team toward the engagement to provide fire support to their battalion commander's convoy, which had been ambushed as it was traveling to Camp Hazabah. As Corporal Dunham and his commander's convoy, which had been Marines advanced, they quickly began to receive enemy fire. Corporal Dunham ordered his squad to dismount their vehicles and led one of his fire teams on foot several blocks south of the ambushed convoy, discovering 7 Iraqi vehicles in a column attempting to depart. Corporal Dunham and his team stopped the vehicles to search them for weapons. As they approached the vehicles, an insurgent leaped out and attacked Corporal Dunham. Corporal Dunham wrestled the insurgent to the ground, and in the ensuing struggle saw the insurgent release a grenade. Corporal Dunham immediately alerted his fellow Marines to the threat. Aware of the imminent danger and without hesitation, Corporal Dunham covered the grenade with his helmet and body, bearing the brunt of the explosion and shielding his Marines from the blast. In an ultimate and selfless act of bravery, this is tough. He was mortally wounded. Saved the lives of at least 2 fellow Marines. By his undaunted courage, intrepid fighting spirit, and unwavering devotion to duty, Corporal Dunham gallantly gave his life for his country, thereby reflecting great credit upon himself and upholding the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. So there you go. After Corporal Dunham's death, several years later, there was a corporal is not a typically high rate in the Army or in the Marine Corps, but he was essentially a Navy vessel. The USS Jason Dunham was subsequently named after him for his bravery in combat. So he is a Medal of Honor award winner, and this is kind of the format. Hopefully, I can get through these better in the future, but that is that's how we're going to do this in the future. I'm going to recognize one person, because what bothers me with respect to remembering military members is that, you know, they're brought home, they're buried, and in my opinion, forgotten until someone else brings their name up and recognizes them. So there's hundreds of thousands of persons that can be recognized. I'm going to do my one little part by recognizing what I can. One service member at a time, starting with Medal of Honor recipients. So with that said, let's move on to our guest. What?
Nothing. You're good.
What?
You're good.
No, you're laughing at something.
I'm not laughing at anything, Dad. I love you.
No, I think that, you know, there's very few
100%.
things I take more serious than, you know, my military service. And, you know, I didn't retire. I only did 7 years, but, you know, those who selflessly give of themselves, it's just, there's no better honor, in my opinion, that we can give them to recognize and remember them after they have long been since buried. And, you know, that's what I'm going to try to do. One little bit of appreciation that I can do. So let's bring Myra in. I know we're a little bit late bringing her in.
Yeah.
And I'm loving her hat.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I have a joke for you.
What?
Did you hear about those 2 nuts in the park?
Yeah.
They got assaulted.
What?
That's-
Come up with a new. You gotta come up with a- you gotta come up with a
I gotta
new-
get another joke. I'll come back in a little bit.
So bad with jokes, not even in Spanish. My husband has to say, this is what happens. Laugh now.
Laugh now.
Yeah, this is the moment that you laugh.
So we got another. Well, she's no longer a Robinson, but another member of my family in here tonight. So everybody see Crafty Hobbit in there. That is my daughter up in just west of Seattle. She's across the Puget Sound. I don't know the town up there, but she is up there. And she says there's also a barracks and building named after Corporal Dunham in Kings Bay, Georgia. So that's a naval submarine base up there, where her husband Steve was TAD while he was up there. So Corporal Dunham really is again Kimberly's uncle's son from his first marriage, and it's really something that we take very seriously, is honoring our military. So I'm going to stop talking about that. Myra, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And
Well,
thanks
thank
for
you.
that
So
wonderful drawing that Little Rick did of my
Here,
garden.
I'll throw it up now. I meant to make a time lapse of it. That way you guys could see it and all that, but I'm not going to tell you that the entire time I was recording that, I was recording the wrong monitor, because that would just be completely but that is the picture. So it's got her little it's like a little tricycle thing in her garden. So you are very welcome.
Love it, love it, love it.
So everybody's asking about the Crafty Hobbit's channel. I don't think the Crafty Hobbit, I know the Crafty Hobbit doesn't have a channel. She's just got a very creative name. She does have an Instagram account, or I think a TikTok, or one of them ones. I'm not into that. I'm not into that whole social media.
So how are things going?
It's raining.
It's raining outside. Yeah, we just got done having a mess of rain.
Remember that we did that video because we needed rain? We got it.
You got the rain.
Well, you've got a beautiful voice. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, Myra and her husband did I'm not sure what that thing's called that your husband was playing. What is that thing?
It's a ukulele, but it has an amplifier. Okay.
And you were singing, and she's got a very beautiful voice. Go check this. The most recent video out on the Flavors and Textures channel is kind of cool. So, check that out. So as I understand, you're up in South Carolina, right?
I am in South Carolina.
Where at?
Near it's between Columbia and Lexington.
Okay, so you're right in central South Carolina then, right? Okay. And you said in your about area that you were, I think, let me get this right, that you came from an area that was tropical, and now you're learning how to grow in South Carolina. So where was the tropical climate?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
So you moved from Puerto Rico to South Carolina.
Yeah, everybody asked me why I would do something like that, but
well, that is like completely different. I mean, wow. I mean, that had to have been a big shift for you, because you're used to growing just about anything that you want to in Puerto Rico.
4 years long. That's true. And when I had my garden already established and good soil and everything, I had to move. Yeah.
So you say you had to move.
I had to move. I was transferred by my job.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is retired, so I was transferred by my job to South Carolina. So it was either transfer or try to find another job. And
I have a doctor that works at the prison I'm at, and he is from Puerto Rico, and he says that he could go down there and get a job as a doctor, but it's going to pay a lot more here. And it's also much more difficult to find like a sustaining job down in Puerto Rico. It's absolutely gorgeous. And he's showed me so many pictures and photos of Puerto Rico. But he said it's hard.
Yeah, I went.
It's gorgeous, especially for, a doctor. It's kind of difficult. The health system don't pay them for, not near a fraction of what they made in the United States. A lot of our doctors went from Puerto Rico, came here to the United States because of that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, when I was in the military, I spent quite a bit of time at that time in Puerto Rico at Roosevelt Roads Naval Station before it closed down. And then it's probably been 7 or 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to go down there, and I spent, I want to say 5 days down in San Juan. And absolutely, that is it's a great, amazing little town if you get into kind of the nooks and crannies, and really, really, really had a great time.
And for you, that you like the history, you have a lot in there.
Endless,
that's what I did. I'm not. Where are you from in Puerto Rico?
I'm sorry?
Where from in Puerto Rico?
Well, my family is from the center of the island. The town is called Jayuya. It's very rural, but very rich in tradition and history and all that. But we moved really early when I was really young to San Juan, not San Juan, Rio Piedras, which is part of San Juan, but it's south. It's not the little town that people visit.
Well, you guys have seen I've got several videos, or I think 3 videos on there of different forts that I've been to on the channel. Maybe there's only one. I've been to a dozen of them at least. But one of my favorites is the one in San Juan. I can't remember the name of it. It is sprawling. It is gigantic. I don't remember the name of it though. Just it's right on the ocean. It was just absolutely beautiful. So, all right. Well, we're not here to talk about Puerto Rico unless you want to continue to talk about Puerto Rico. So
I start crying.
So I don't have to tell you to cry, but I do have to tell you to laugh at my jokes. This is awful.
I've already done that for both of us. I made myself look like a fool crying. So
no, you didn't.
I already did that for both of us. I'm hard on just about everything. Ask my son. I'm hard on him all the time. But when I start talking about the military, it's like that's the one thing that
comes a big softy. So
when I moved to the US, I will cry every single day for whatever reason.
That's got to be a huge culture shock. I mean, I can't imagine that near Columbia and Lexington that there's a huge Hispanic population there.
Population zero.
That has
no, it's not. You're there.
Well, I'm here now, and my husband.
So culturally, that had to be a gigantic shock.
Especially because, part of it is because we are a mixed marriage, and it's kind of weird in here, but it's just how Puerto Ricans are. We're just all the same thing.
So you're looking for plantains, and they're wanting to give you grits, and you're wondering what's going on.
Yes.
See, that would be my dilemma.
Yes.
So before we get started into the body of everything and getting into the getting to know them segment, we got a couple more people that kind of jumped in. Brenda Baker, hello. I think Fowler Family Farm came in. I don't know if they were in here from the very start.
They came in a little bit ago. Tina Ladybug, welcome.
Best Yet Journey, hello everyone. So thank you guys all for coming in. So we can and Nightbot's still here. He hasn't gone away yet, Paula. So go ahead, Dad.
Paula's going to start like a Kill Nightbot campaign. She's going to send out a hit squad on Nightbot. So you have currently, this is as of this morning when I looked at this, 441 subscribers. Do you know what your first video was, Myra?
Oh yeah.
What was it?
It was between summer and fall. It was really hot, and at the end I just let the garden go, and it was a mess. So
that was the title. My garden is a mess.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
So it looks like a lot of your videos, you do a lot of gardening.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite thing that you like growing or thing? Is that, here's what I found with I follow a lot of gardening channels on YouTube. And one thing that I found is that gardening and cooking and clothing are really primary ways that people, despite being displaced from a culture, can still kind of embed themselves in their culture through their food, through their clothing. And part of that comes from gardening. So have you kind of been able to, those things that you would have grown in Puerto Rico that you really enjoy growing, were you able to kind of transport those to some extent? I mean, I would imagine once you get into your growing season is probably pretty similar from spring on, that what you can grow. But after that, like, some of the tropical fruits and stuff, I'm assuming that's different.
Well, one of the things that I missed when I came here is the base for our food, which is sofrito. I don't know if you've heard about that. It's a mixture of different vegetables, and the majority of them, you don't see them here. You can't buy them in the store.
Right.
Especially one that is, I made a video about it, we call it ají dulce. It's a little pepper. It looks like a ghost pepper, but it's actually not hot at all. And we call it ají dulce. And it was nowhere to be found in here. I asked for seeds from Puerto Rico. I didn't get them. And then I asked my daughter if she could find some. She lives in Orlando. And she said, yeah. So when I went the next time, I got one little pepper that was like from Santo Domingo, got harvested probably 6 months before. And I planted those seeds. And from those seeds, from that ugly pepper, is that I have right now probably 200 seeds saved.
Wow.
From last year,
from the peppers that got sent to you. Wow, cool.
And it's, for me, that was something so important because it's what gives the sofrito, that and the culantro is what gives the sofrito the actual flavor that we like. So it was like a huge accomplishment.
How many ingredients is that sofrito?
It depends, but mostly is Cubanol peppers, that ají dulce, culantro, and it could be cilantro too. There's people that put garlic, but I don't, and onion. It's not that complicated. It's just.
But that's a base. That's a really popular base in Puerto Rican food. Yeah. I mean, when I was down there, because whenever I go anywhere new, it doesn't matter whether it's. There's a funny story. Whenever I go to any new country, I always try to get the local dish, and I don't even know what it is. I just tell them, bring me your most popular dish, whatever that is. So my funniest story of doing that, it kind of got me into trouble. Not really trouble, but trouble with me trying to eat it. So I grew up on fish, grew up on wild game, but it was always cleaned and prepared in a certain way. So the first time I ever went to Portugal, I was in the Navy, and we pull in. I don't speak Spanish, or I don't speak Portuguese. They don't speak English, and I'm trying to order a meal. So I go into this little restaurant right on the bay where we pulled into Portugal, and I somehow conveyed that I just pointed to something on the menu, and he said, nods his head, comes back out 20 minutes later, and he's got my meal, and it's this gigantic plate. The plate's this big around, and on that plate is this fish that's this long it's propped up, looking at me with both eyes, just kind of staring at me. And it's like, after a moment of panic with this fish staring at me, I ate it. But it was amazingly good once I got past the fish staring at me as I eat it. So I had to turn his back to me. So I was looking at his back. I couldn't eat him while I looked him in the eyes.
What kind of fish was that?
I don't know. I couldn't speak Portuguese. It was big. I don't know.
Okay. Because
if I had to guess, knowing now what I know about fish, it kind of looked like a really thick grouper. Is kind of what it looked like. It was a thicker fish, probably that tall, but it was, I kid you not, that long. So I ate it, and it was really amazingly good. But apparently they steam it. They steam it in a paper bag of sorts or something. But it was pretty amazing. But I had to turn its back to me, so I couldn't look it in the eye. Sandy, take care. Glad you could stop by Hickory Croft Farm. Welcome. So you also do some food preservation. There are some videos that you've got. Some fermentation that you do. You also do some canning.
Yep.
Tell us about that. What got you into that, or is that something you've always done?
Yes. Well, no, I started in Puerto Rico. Since you can grow the whole year, you don't have to think about that much into preservation, because you have a pepper plant that is going to give you peppers 12 months a year and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I started preserving, or trying to think about preserving food other than just making a sofrito and freezing it, because that was the only thing that I was actually preserving when I came in here. So you can only have like a really good tomato sauce, during the summer, because the rest of the time you have to either buy it or preserve it somehow. So I started preserving food here when I moved to the US, and I got in love with it. I started with water bath canning, and then pressure canning, dehydrating, fermenting, and I'm always learning something new.
What kind of things are you fermenting?
Mostly, well, one of the things that I ferment is ginger, to make a ginger bog. In that ginger bog, you can do hard lemonade, you can do ginger beer, and I also ferment other vegetables like cauliflower.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. One thing I was trying to figure out, and somebody keeps telling me, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can store eggs shelf stable, because I've got way more than I'm able to sell right now. And Facebook is not allowing me to post ads on their marketplace now. So what have you done? Have you tried to ever save eggs?
I have not.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the other day a video where they store eggs, if I'm not mistaken. Was it in water, or it wasn't a big bath? I don't remember, but it was in liquid.
Yeah, there was a Page Family Homestead did one,
Yes.
I think 3 or 4 days ago, and it was lime water, and I'm like, well, that seems really interesting. So I actually looked at that. It's kind of funny. I was in my pursuit of trying to figure out how I can preserve eggs. I said, well, you can freeze eggs. It changes the texture on them some. That's funny. So you can appreciate that because it's a different texture. So what I did is I took a muffin pan and I just cracked eggs in there, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to throw these into the freezer, and then I'm going to be able to freeze them, take them out, and then I'll just put them into a little baggie. Man, those things would not come out of that little muffin tin for nothing. It's like they stuck to it like they were glued in there. So I put it out on my back porch. And next thing I know, I walk out there after 5 minutes. I was going to let the sun kind of hit it, see if they would pop out after that. Those things were not on my back porch for 5 minutes before my chickens just were like killing it. So I did this little 20-second shorts video. So it looks like I'm serving my chickens frozen eggs. It was a gigantic follow-up on my part. I wanted to keep my eggs, but my chickens stole my eggs out of the muffin tin.
Oh no, that's not good.
Well, MB Heritage, I've got 2 silicone muffin pans coming tomorrow from Amazon, because that's exactly what Lala said. She said, don't put them in metal, put them into a silicone one. So those are going to be from Amazon. They get there tomorrow. So Nisi, a free handling maid, she's kind of giving me the smiley faces. So everybody thought that was like intentional. I was a nice guy giving my chickens frozen eggs. No, that was a complete accident. That wasn't my intent.
We all do those things.
Pardon me?
We all do all kind of things.
Well, I tried. So after that one, then I took the same muffin pan, and Lala says, well, try to put them in like muffin little. So then I took like cupcake tins and stuck the egg in there, and the eggs won't come out of that. So this is like my third iteration of trying to freeze these eggs. So I'm going to put them into these silicone thing. I'm going to cook some too and see, then do a taste test which ones work best. So this is my life. You don't see this on camera because I'll try anything once. It drives Lala bonkers. So, for example, last 2 weeks I've been, my doctor said, you got to lose weight. So you got to go on keto, reduce all of your sugar, carbohydrates, and all that stuff. So I've been doing that for 2 weeks. And part of that last night, I've been tinkering this week, wrecking my kitchen at nighttime, baking bread at nighttime at like 9 o'clock at night. And I made one last night that's really, really good. South Carolinians would be proud of it because it kind of tastes, even though it's completely keto friendly, it kind of tastes like cornbread. It's pretty good. So even my grandson likes it.
He's been making me eat rabbit food for like the last week and a half.
I'm not making anybody eat anything. All right. So we got to get back to you, Myra.
Do you know that I've lost 35 pounds? But it has nothing to do with keto. I just eat carbs. I just eat plants. Yeah. I'm not a fan of eating meat, not because of any conviction or poor animals. So I just don't like it. Never have. So doing a keto diet is really difficult for me. So I'm just eating plants.
Well, good for you. That's good for you. So I don't know, probably been 15 years ago, the most success I've ever had on a diet was, now it's got a name. I think it's paleo or something, but back then it just hit me like a rock in the head. I'm just going to, if they didn't eat it 100 years ago, I'm just not going to eat it. And if I would have patented that, I'd probably been a millionaire because now people actually do that and use that language. But I lost probably 40 pounds doing that. I eliminated anything processed whatsoever. And then you kind of fall back into bad habits. Fowler Family Farm. Yes, I agree. And that's all of the research that I did showed that to freeze dry the eggs is probably the best way to preserve the nutrients and kind of the texture of that egg. The problem is a freeze dryer is $3,000. And although, yeah, they're expensive. So yeah, they're really expensive. Tina Ladybug, yummy homemade bread. The bread is really, really good. Instead of the first recipe that I did 3 nights ago used whey protein powder as kind of the it's not a leavening agent because it doesn't rise, but it sure did rise. But then when I took it out of the oven, I'm like, well, boy, that just looks really, really odd. When I took it out of the pan, there's literally, I think what happened is a gas pocket got in the middle of this loaf of bread because there's this hole that's probably that tall the entire length of the loaf. Like air got in and couldn't escape. But the one I made last night was really, really good, and that was made out of almond flour, and it was pretty good. I actually had it for breakfast this morning.
Nice.
So it says. So how did you come up with your channel name, Flavors and Textures? What does that mean? Because it's not obvious when you first see the name. It's like, I wonder what that's about.
Well, that I used to have a blog 3 or 4 years ago. But I used to post vegan food in there, and I bought the domain, and it was Flavors and Textures. I work a lot, and the majority of the time I cannot dedicate a lot of time to write and take photos, and they have to be a certain way. And so I stopped posting in that blog for a long time, and all of a sudden when I started the channel, it was just for my family and me, and for us to just, instead of me just sending them a lot of videos in their phones, you post it somewhere that they can see it. And I said, okay, let me use the same name that they know. and that's how I came with the name. It was just the same name that I had before in my blog, and it stayed like that.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. That's the thing is, I don't know if you were listening, if you were on here, before you came on, but this is our 27th episode of this Get to Know Them segment. So,
Yeah.
And here's the theme that I've kind of discovered. It's like, because I ask, why did you start your channel? And the most common response by far is, I want to document what I'm doing so that people, not necessarily for the whole world to see, but they want to document what they're doing so that in the future, their family, their grandchildren, their kids can really kind of see they're creating a video history, if you will, of their entire life. And I think that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, never before. I mean, think about it when you and I were young. You're flipping through a photo album.
Yes.
Now, kids in 20 years are going to be flipping back through YouTube to watch their now 60-year-old parents who were 30 and 40, doing these YouTube videos and saying, wow, my dad was nuts back then and now he's even crazier. I know that's what my grandchildren will be saying.
Yeah.
It's just cool how this is all shifting and kind of how we're now documenting history. And it's very different than we've ever done in the history of the world.
Yeah, and if I haven't find the Chetworth team, I'll probably be just 10 followers or something like that, because it was how I started growing with the teams and going to the lives and knowing new people.
Right.
I'm not a people's person.
Yeah, well, that's how I met you. Is that you were coming into our lives when we first started these. You were coming in, and then I started seeing you on a few panels at nighttime, and then you reached out and said, "Hey, I want to be on there." And that's cool. I mean, I like her personality.
It took courage to do that.
Well, fear of public speaking is the number one fear in people. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's not in my language. Remember.
Yeah.
So
I mean, people get really, Paula Wells, nah, Rick, they're just going to wonder what happened to you. So, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting stuff, how this all coming together, how we're viewed 20 years is going to be very different. So, who do you draw your inspiration from, Myra?
You mean from gardening or something?
Yeah, for gardening, cooking. Is this something that you kind of learned from a grandmother or a mother? I mean, and again, this is, I've worked with a lot of Hispanic clients in the past, and the one thing that is different with many families in the United States than it is in many Hispanic communities is that Hispanic communities still are very, very family oriented, and you have multiple generations living under the same roof. So it's not just kids learning from a mother or learning from a father, but it's maybe learning from a grandmother or a grandfather, or maybe even a great grandmother or grandfather. I had a client that I evaluated, I don't know, a few months back from Miami, and they had 4 generations living under the same house, living on the same roof. It was pretty amazing.
Well, we did not live in the same house, but we visit each other very, very, frequently, like weekly. I spent a lot of time with my grandma. She used to be a baker. Well, she worked on the post office, but in her spare time, she used to bake, and she loved it. She was a very good cook, but she hated to cook because she needed to do like 10 different dishes for my grandpa at a time. But I really, really learned how to cook, like a passion for cooking from my father.
Really? Cool.
My father, he can do, a single plate, and he can do grilling, and he can use a cajachina and do a complete pork. So he can do anything. He can cook anything. He cannot bake, but he can cook whatever. And he is a super great cook.
Wow.
So whenever we are together, my father's already 85. And whenever we are together, we fight for the kitchen and the grill. So everybody,
father versus daughter for superiority rights in the kitchen, huh?
And my brothers and my daughter, like everybody wants to cook and be the star of the day. So you know that there's a lot of dishes when we are together.
Cool. That's cool. That's cool. So, and so we're going to close out on this one. So if you guys have not been over to Flavors and Textures, go over and check out Myra's channel. She does a lot of stuff on there, and it's well done. But interestingly, you know, I go on usually a day or two or 3 days in advance and start kind of watching some of the videos and then kind of see what you're doing on there so that we can chat about that. But we mentioned it very early. Your most recent one is you're singing a song. So you want to do a verse in closing? No, I won't put you on the spot like that.
Oh,
you have a very beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you.
So you got
I got a claim for that one.
Oh, did you? A copyright claim? No kidding. So it detected. So that means that you were spot on with the music then.
That is what my granddaughter said.
All right. Thumbs up. You nailed it then. If you were singing it so well you got a copyright claim, that's a good thing.
Yeah. It was like in hours.
Wow.
Couple of hours and I got a copyright claim.
Well, Myra, any closing comments or anything?
Well, I just I'm so grateful that of all the good friends that I have met through these teams in YouTube. I will not be able to do that in life. Like I have, my husband is the one with the friends, and normally our friends for what he likes. Right. So it's not friends that I can share my passion with gardening and learn from them, or maybe they learn from you. So it's a pleasure, I will say, to be part of this community. Is incredible what I've gained in terms of satisfaction and friends and all that. So I'm really, really, really grateful.
All right, don't start crying. I've already
we did this with Paula already.
I've already done that for both of us. Don't do that.
We did it with Paula too, so we can't do it with you also.
I heard that I'm the last of the Mohicans.
You are people have been contacting me for several weeks, and I said, this is the last one that we're doing of this format. I mean, we're changing how we're doing it. We want to be able to kind of let people know more about us and kind of really answer questions more effectively, because when I'm in here, I want to pay attention to you, which means I can't read the questions, I can't read the comments, and so that's been frustrating to me. It's probably been my biggest frustration. While I have loved to talk with every single one of our guests that have been on here, it's also very frustrating that I can't read and keep up with questions and comments. So we're shifting to that. We're still going to have guests, but up until this point, we've kind of limited it to channels under 1,000, and so we've got our first guest coming up the 14th of next month. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but and kind of explain how we're changing. So it's going to be more topically oriented. So if you got ideas on what you would like to kind of talk about educationally, topically, shoot me an email. But so you're the last of the Mohicans.
That's great. That's
right.
Great. Thank you.
So here's I'm going to give you a special offer since you're the last one, Myra. So normally I give people that come on here a t-shirt. I'm going to give you the option of a t-shirt or a canvas print of the picture that Rick did. What do you want?
I want the canvas print of the picture.
Okay. All right.
That didn't take you very long to decide, huh?
I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I want it.
Well, it's all yours.
All right. So we're gonna have that printed for you. Instead of having a t-shirt printed for you, we're gonna have a canvas print of that done for you, and send that to you as our appreciation for you coming on here. All right.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
All right. Well, I think we got all the questions. So Myra, I wish you good night. All right.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Go check out Myra's channel if you have not already been there. All right. So let's do some housekeeping stuff. So we've talked. So going forward, again, I would consider the lives as they go forward to be much more entertaining, much more engaging, and much more engaging. That's probably the best word. We're going to have next week, we're going to have our 5,000 sub celebration. So we're going to have a party. So last week we were at 4,891. And we kind of timed our live of when we would do that by when we thought that we would hit 5,000. And as of right now, we are 11 shy. So we've picked up 90 some this week, which is about typical. We average about 300 to 400 a month of new subs. And so we should hit 5,000 probably tomorrow or Friday. So next Wednesday is going to be our 5,000 sub celebration. You don't want to miss this live, because if you make the live, everyone has the potential to win something.
There's so many.
Yeah. So every single person. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. See, the lighting is horrible on this thing. Clyde's Garden Planner. Have you ever seen these? Drop some comments in there if you have. So what this is, and this is something that I started using a couple of years ago, even when I couldn't get my garden in, but I got it to kind of help me look at when to plant things, when harvests would be ideal. And that's what this does. So this is basically a pull chart like this. And it tells you, for example, so it's got one side is for the spring and the other is for the fall crops. So these are the cold weather crops and the hot weather crops. So you basically calculate your frost date. So let's say your frost date is April, let's say April 26th. So you line this red line up with April 26th, and then it's going to tell you when your first planting of each one of these crops are. For all of these, onions, peas, spinach, everything down the right-hand side. It'll also tell you when to start things indoors or when to start things from seeds outdoors. It's a really, really handy-dandy tool. Next week, you will have the opportunity, every single person in that live will have the opportunity to win one of those. At the very least, we're going to have lots of other stuff, lots of other giveaways as well. But that's the primary one that everyone in there, if you are with us for the whole thing, from the beginning to the end, and we got a pretty cool little idea for making sure that those that stay with us that whole hour for that whole time are going to be appropriately rewarded. So you want to get in here on time at 7:00, and then we will probably be on. Usually it's about an hour and 15 minutes or so, and.
I don't know. This one's a party. A party. I might beg Chelsea to stay on a little bit longer.
I might even be able to talk Lala into coming on, or maybe even the Crafty Hobbit. So she says, I have cinnamon banana bread in the bread machine right now. That doesn't have nothing to do with my live, Rebecca.
So Papa was saying something about this new kind of format that we're going to be putting together. And I had said earlier also, I'm going to try not to speak as loud because I'm echoing real bad on your side. But Papa said something about a new format and it being more engaging with you guys. And, I can interrupt Papa if he starts to ramble. I cannot, however, interrupt guests. And so go ahead and start talking, Papa.
I ramble a lot.
So Michael Harris,
and then I become emotional.
Michael Harris says, "Little Rick, how's my buddy doing?" So it happens like that. I just interrupt him if somebody has a question or has something to say. I can't do that with a guest. I just had to prove my point. But no, Michael Harris, Patrick is doing great. I know that's who you're referring to. but that's the kind of thing. It's hard to engage with you guys. It's hard to engage with you guys when we have a guest on, and so I kind of leave the live a lot, and then I'll jump on YouTube and I'll jump on just kind of highlighting stuff. And I would like to be more engaged in the topics as well. But just imagine if I wasn't here and Papa had to read, listen, talk, show things on the screen. Whew.
As you can see from my, as you can watch from my putting label tape on my seed boxes, I'm a pretty rigid person, and so I don't do multitasking particularly well. I'm a pretty focused one angle dude, and I think my kids would testify to that. so
Sweet Pete Farms from New York. Thank you for coming in. Says,
Michelle,
hey guys, how's it going?
I'm gonna shoot you an email tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. That's why I was asking you the questions tonight in your live. I'm gonna shoot you an email, so keep an eye out for it. So again, next week, be here at 7, and everyone in attendance has the potential to win one of these Clyde's planners. And we're also going to have some other giveaways. And at the end, we're going to have a big giveaway. And we're going to talk more about that next week. But it will be fun. Rick's in charge of being the party planner. So, how it all happens, how it all goes down. He's going to be the DJ mix master next week. So make sure that we have a good time. So next week is going to be the 5,000 sub celebration. As I said, 3/31, the week after that. And this is what I opened up the ribbons from Free Handly Made today. That will be a collaboration that we are doing with
I'm going to showcase something. Go ahead, continue talking.
That will be the collaboration that we are doing with Free Handly Made and Hat Creek Homestead. I've invited a third party to be present, but they have not responded to me yet. So hopefully we'll have 3 different families in there who, at various levels, have been impacted, by autism on their homestead or farm. And so that will be a really informative, really educational, really meaningful topic. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. So Whiskey and Sunshine Off Grid. I'm breaking out the good whiskey for the next live. Oh, man. All right. So if you have not, drop those links in there, Rick, for those 2 videos. So the way that we're doing this, that we've kind of planned, is that Free Handly Made did the initial, it's on page,
I got it.
Free Handly Made did a video that came out the beginning of this month, kind of introducing the collaboration. Misty at Hat Creek Homestead did their video last week, introduced you to her son, Gus, and Gus's companion dog, and really, really kind of tug at the heartstrings. We will be doing our intro video, recording that this weekend, and that will be premiered next Wednesday at 6:45, just prior to our 5K sub party. And so that will be kind of announcing our part in that collaboration. And then that collaboration will actually happen on the 31st. So that will be that live. After that, we're going to start doing what basically you're calling just freestyle. The next one after that will be There's No Topic. Probably be a loose topic, but more it's just kind of engagement with our subscribers, engagement with the folks that come into the live, so that we can just kind of chat, answer any questions that you got about our farm, and so forth. Yes, sir.
My house is coming. That could be a topic.
Yeah. His house
it's supposed to be here.
His house is coming soon.
Yeah. You're not the only one clapping.
His house is coming soon.
No, on the 24th, it's actually supposed to be like completely off of the line. It is a mobile home. I'm perfectly fine with that. I love the layout. It's going to be awesome. Yes, Paula, that is a great topic. but on the 24th, it should be coming off of the line. 25th, it'll be in transit. 26th, it should be on the property, and then it'll be like 3 or 4 weeks of like setup, unfortunately. But I'm like a month out almost. So like me and Chelsea are absolutely ecstatic.
So that's what's happening. So then this week or the 7th, that's going to be a freestyle. We're going to try to move it around a little bit, and so I'm not going to tell you what that means in terms of kind of going around the farm, kind of introducing the other parts on the live would be my goal. Hopefully, we can pull that off. But our first kind of topical one that we're going to be doing is on the 14th of April, and that was confirmed just today. And that is going to be, so if you guys have followed the lives, one of our common visitors, very frequent visitors that come in here, and he's just gone back to work in the last few weeks, is Darren Simister from Down Under Farm and Forge.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Darren is really well known in a lot of these homesteading communities, is active in Shed Wars this year. But I've been bugging Darren for months. 3-4 months about getting him to make me a custom knife. And so Darren just came out. He just hit 1,000 this past week. So I think he's just over 1,000. So go check him out if you don't know that channel. But he's giving away a custom knife. And so I think it's only a week or so that he has people registering. So you got to go in and comment on that video that he posted today. You got to be there for his live when he does it. But he will make you a knife if you win that giveaway. But in the process of that, I communicated with him again last week, and today we firmed up that we're doing a live knife design session on the 14th. So he's going to kind of talk about what goes into designing and planning a knife. And we're going to design that knife and pick out the raw materials, the steel, the wood, the materials that are going to go into that knife as part of the live. And I'll probably have you guys helping me out in that design. What do you like? What don't you like?
We have a knife made by this or picked out by the subscribers.
Yeah, so we're going to design that knife live on that session. That'll be pretty cool, I think. And then Darren, I hope, will be able to do a series on making that knife, and then we will premiere that knife once we get it up here in the States. So I'm really looking forward to that. That will be really cool.
That will be awesome. Twinbrook Acres asked, did the movers check out the route? So they did have a guy come out, the guy that's going to be delivering the house, and the guy that is delivering the house said that there's going to be a little bit of an upcharge because they actually have to put the house on tracks in order to get it down our single lane road. So it's not astronomical, and it'll still fit in the budget. But yeah, they're gonna have to put it on this really cool. It's like a massive. I don't even think I said this to you, Dad. So they're gonna have to put it on these tracks, and then there's like 2 remote control, or it's a side-by-side remote control, and that's how they'll actually get the house in where it's supposed to be. So they have to do that from the end of Cottontail all the way down Deer Track. So that'd be pretty cool.
So that'll be something to see. So that's what's coming up. As I said earlier, if anyone in here has any ideas, topics that they particularly that they're passionate about, that they view themselves as smarter than the average bear on, then I would love to hear from you if you've got any ideas about topics and how if we could bring you on here and maybe have that discussion. Again, the only thing I'm asking is that it's kind of tangentially related to homesteading, farming, and what we would do in terms of self-sufficiency. Anything within that is open game. So let's give away what I think is probably going to be our very last shirt in a live stream. I don't even think, that stopped last week. So this is for a $10 Amazon gift card. Not a shirt, a gift card. The question is very straightforward. I think this one's going to be an easy one for folks. What is the name of our livestock guardian dog?
I will monitor the comments. Papa Reed Ed's question.
Ed, question. Rick, how is the greenhouse? Greenhouse is good, Ed. The greenhouse, here's the deal with the greenhouse in Florida. You really don't use it, but only for a very narrow amount of time. Probably similar to a greenhouse in Texas. So I've taken all of the plants out, and they are now out actually in the garden area. So they are growing well. But there's really nothing growing right now in the greenhouse because it literally gets too hot. We'll be using the greenhouse probably from around November to February is really kind of the time frame for when we will be able to use that greenhouse, and we'll be able to grow in that greenhouse year round. Things that are going, what I'm thinking are going to be more warmer weather plants, and extend those growing season. So that's kind of the plan with the greenhouse. But right now there's nothing in the greenhouse because I've pulled all of the plant starts, the seed starts out, and they're out in the main garden area right now. Potatoes are in, they're growing like gangbusters. We've got multiple buckets of potatoes growing, red potatoes and some Yukon Golds. And the entire herb garden is also going gangbusters. I mean, I've got my dill is probably that tall now. In the bucket, and so everything's moving along well. I hope to get
Whiskey and Sunshine off grid.
They get it?
Yep, Betsy.
All right.
Congratulations, Whiskey and Sunshine. You're
Well,
gonna get
all right.
Yeah.
I will. I think I've got your email, guys. So I will shoot you. It's going to come via an email, $10 Amazon gift card.
Yeah.
I'll probably get that to you tomorrow.
Day late, dollar short, Michael. Day late, dollar short, buddy.
I thought for sure Michael would get that.
Yeah. He had to deal with her for 2 days while he was visiting.
Yeah.
Michael come down here. Yep. Whoop, whoop. Michael come down here to visit several months ago. I mean, it was a while ago, and hopefully he'll be coming down soon for a second visit, but he had to deal with Betsy for 2 days. She is when she wants to be pet, she comes up to you. She comes up to you and she hits you with her paw. It is the most annoying thing. And I guarantee you Papa will vouch for that, because when him and Mom are trying to leave for the morning to go to their professional jobs, and Papa's all dressed up for an evaluation, and she comes up with muddy paws that she's been laying in the grass and dirt all night long, and she goes, "Pow!" Yeah.
And she's got, she's a Great Pyrenees / Karachikan mix. So her feet are small bear paws. They're huge. Now, she doesn't look like she's a big dog, but she's 130 pounds.
Massive.
She is a huge dog. She doesn't look like it in the pictures, because we don't get really
in
close.
In person, be ran at by her. She's big. She's and very intimidating.
Dog. So we got a new fella in here, Chris Clever Craft. That's a tongue twister. Say that fast 3 times. So, all right. Well, I think that about kind of brings us. I think we can wrap that up. Again, if anybody has any ideas, there's no limit now on the size of channels that we're going to bring onto the live, and there's going to be fewer of those. And they're going to be very, very topically oriented, similar to what we're doing with Down Under Farm and Forge, kind of doing a live knife design on the live. So if you got some ideas like that, things that you want to share that talent in a live stream, I would love to hear from you. I think that's all we got. So make sure next week you're in here at 7:00, because Rick's gonna be running the giveaway, and we're gonna be, again, anyone that shows up has the chance.
Let's go ahead and motivate people, Dad.
Well,
you said what? How, like, everybody has an opportunity?
Everybody.
That would mean that you would have a lot of those.
Yeah.
How many of those do you have?
I have 100. So
I don't 100.
Yeah, so I don't think that so this is probably going to be a giveaway and other things as well, but everyone who shows up next week, if they attend for the whole time and they do what we tell them to at the beginning, has a chance to win one of these garden planters. They're kind of cool, actually. I use it. So Twin Brook Acres, I hope you do a video of the home being delivered.
I will try. I just have to get off. They have to let me know beforehand anyway, because there's still some fence posts and whatnot that I have to go ahead and drag up out of the ground. But they should be letting me know the day before, and I'm going to try to be there the day of and the day after. So I am going to try to get literally the house from the time it pulls onto my road to the time that it gets in. So yeah, that would be a very cool video. If not people wanting to see it, then it would just be cool to show the house being delivered for me, almost like a vlog, which is the kind of videos that I enjoy making anyway. But it'll be cool to dude, you better video.
Paul is threatening you. So Michael Harris said she's an awesome LGD, patrols the entire perimeter. So we got Betsy literally to be one guardian dog in one goat paddock. And immediately after getting her, Betsy, we realized that Betsy is not a one goat kind of LGD or a one paddock LGD, because she was over that fence. As soon as we walk away, she's over the fence.
It's funny how she slowly, what was it? We put her in the big paddock, and then it took maybe like she had to get a little bit bigger, but once she got a little bit bigger, then she jumped from the big paddock to the paddock that mom was keeping, the kind of the trial run goats that we'd keep them in there for 30 days to let anything that they possibly had before putting them in with the big goats. And so Betsy jumped from the big paddock to that paddock. And then we kept putting her back in the big paddock, realized eventually this isn't going to work. So she just started to migrate from paddock to paddock. And then eventually she, and this is after tons and tons and tons of trying to keep her in, Lala finally said, screw this, we're done. And now she wouldn't go past, remember, she wouldn't go past where the garden is now.
Yeah, we kind of joke that we started with a state police patrol. So Betsy does the entire property. So now we need like a local sheriff to put into the paddock. So, we're looking for, there's another type of guardian dog. It's a Maremma that Lala is looking for. So we'd like to get 2 Maremmas that are purebred, because they tend not to wander off. But Betsy's an awesome dog, but she patrols the entire 20 acres and does a darn good job. So
her and Dixie. Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap this up. Amy just came in for Craze Family Homestead. Welcome, Amy. Appreciate you stopping in the Hobby Farm Homestead. They have dropped in, and so did Mac from Kid Family Farm. So welcome, folks, but you're late to the party. Remember, for those that came in a little bit late, make sure you're here on time next week, because we're going to talk about what we're going to do for the giveaways, and you want to hear the whole thing. That way, everybody that's in here has a chance of winning one of those garden planners.
We have a lot.
All right. Well, that said, folks, we're gonna call this one a night. Thanks everybody for coming in. Much appreciated. Sorry for crying. I'm a big crybaby when it comes to the military. Crafty Hobbit, thank you on Doodlebug's birthday. So, well, that's right. That's Doodlebug is what I call my granddaughter. So that's her mama, Crafty Hobbit. I try, Becca Crafty Hobbit ought to do a channel. She is literally one of the craftiest persons you can ever imagine. So she is just really, really incredible. All right, folks, we're going to sign off. Take care. Always remember, treat others as you would like to be treated. Be well, my friends. Take care.